Hello and welcome to Your Health in Your Hands. My name is Dr. David Ajibade with the Brain and Body Foundation. If you've been following us, we've been talking about cardiovascular disease, which many have touted as the number one cause of premature death worldwide. And so we're paying specific attention to it because we've shown that blacks, especially Nigerians, we being the most populous black nation in the world, are specifically, especially prone to cardiovascular disease and heart disease and heart attacks and strokes and even kidney disease as well. So we want to really look at these things. We want to really pay attention to these things. And so I encourage you to pay attention, take notes, invite your neighbors, your friends, family, sending your comments, well, on social media as well, sending your questions. Let's get really engaged in this thing. So you can go back to your doctors and to your health authorities to really engage them as well and say, well, listen, we need to do something about this. So we're just doing our own part with NTA to help to bring the word out to you. Last week we spoke about hypertension, and we also spoke about about your dental health. This week we're going to this series of sessions we're going to be talking about what you put in your mouth. We're going to be talking about your diet. And I know I'm going to be stepping on some toes here, but just hang with me. It's for your best, or it's for your own good. When people think about cardiovascular disease, we think about two main things. Obviously, your cholesterol levels and your sugar levels. Those are the things that are most tested by your physician. So we want your sugar levels to be not more than a certain level. We want your cholesterol levels, again, to be within a certain range, because too high levels for too long a period of time can eventually cause damage and cardiovascular disease. So we try and take medications to control those things. I want to take it a step further because when it comes to diets, we want to know exactly how high sugar levels and what are the kind of things that raise your cholesterol levels. What are the kind of things that raise your sugar levels? So we want to examine really the Nigerian diet. And I have to say, it's not very good news for you at all because when you look at the Nigerian diet and you look at what the human being should be taking, your body does have specific requirements. There are about 7 food groups. You've got the amino acids, the fatty acids, you've got the carbohydrates, you've got what are known as plant chemicals, which cover a whole range. You've also got the phytosterols, the plant sterols, things that help to boost, to build your sex hormones like testosterone and estrogen. I'm not going to go into all those, but your body requires a good balance of each of these 7 food groups. Water again we just add water as the 7th food group because it's very important. So your body needs each of these in adequate amounts. The truth is most of us are not getting enough of these nutrients in adequate amounts. Now, when we were younger, 18, 19, 20, our bodies were fit, our bodies were working well. So even though we're not getting enough of the nutrients, our bodies were able to make up for it. Our bodies were able to work better. But with time, with this lack over time, it begins to compound. The problems begin to compound, and we begin to see it in your early 30s and in your early 40s. You begin to see the effect of those deficiencies take root. We talked about vitamin D3. We've talked about vitamin C to a certain degree, but let's examine the Nigerian diet. The key thing that you want to look at is what is known as glycemic index. And basically, it's an index of how much your blood sugar rises when you take a particular food. I think some of you know where I'm going. In other words, if your blood sugar rises drastically after you take a specific food, it means your glycemic index is high, or the glycemic index of that food is high. If your blood sugar doesn't rise so rapidly, if it's a gradual rise, it's better. So there are certain foods that have a low glycemic index. The key is that you don't want to present your body with a large glycemic load. In other words, if you have a certain meal, you don't want to have a sudden rise. Why? Because your body instantly tries to bring that blood sugar level down. your body, of course, that takes energy, it takes resources to control blood sugar every time you eat. So you don't want to task your body into doing those things, because the more you do it, in the morning you take a high glycemic index food, boom, it goes up. Your body has to attack it, bring it down. In the afternoon again, you take a high glycemic index food, boom, your body has to bring it down. Evening, boom. What happens? Over a period of time, your body begins to get tired. It doesn't address these things, doesn't regulate these blood sugar levels as effectively as it should, and therefore blood sugar levels begin to rise and stay at a higher level. And eventually, once there's high blood sugar, it may not be to the level of diabetes, but when the blood sugar is so high over a period of time, it causes damage. Again, I don't think I want to get tired of addressing this thing, because it's so important. High sugar causes damage to the lining of the endothelium, and we've established that damage to the endothelium is not good. So high blood sugar causes damage to the endothelium. So we want to ensure that we know what foods are causing high blood sugar, and we know what foods are not. So in front of you should see another slide that kind of like gives the glycemic index of certain foods. I'm just going to take your attention to some of them. Cornflakes has a very high glycemic load. I'm not going to mention any brand names, but you know what I'm talking about. Cereals, there are certain cereals, when you take them, it shoots up the blood sugar levels. You want to control those things. Surprisingly, EBA that everybody takes has a very high glycemic load. Pounded yam has a high glycemic load. I'm from Ekiti State. My dad used to take pounded yam 3 times a day. He since stopped that. But a lot of people, and again, people in Benue State too, take a lot of pounded yam. Semovita, Tuwo Shinkafa, these have high glycemic loads. Again, you just refer to the slide in front of you. As you grow older, your 30s and 40s, you want to be able to control and reduce the amount of those starchy foods that you take. You want to switch more to things like sweet potato, believe it or not, is fantastic. And by the way, just going back to EBA, ordinary gari, without turning it into EBA, actually has a much lower glycemic load than EBA does. Surprisingly enough, I think that addition of hot water makes, and turning it into EBA makes it so much higher. So you want to look at the high glycemic loads, and you want to look at the blood sugars. What else do I want to say? So here are a couple of do's and don'ts that you want to pay attention to. When it comes to do's, you want to take higher levels of vegetables and fruits. Everybody talks about those things. From what I've seen in our diet, we tend to cook a lot. We cook the hell out of of the vegetables we take. Whether it's bitter leaf. Bitter leaf is fantastic, by the way, but once you cook it for too long, once you cook it at all, you lose a lot of nutrients. Spinach, all these vegetables that we have are actually very good, but the problem is that we cook them out. We cook the nutrients out of them. So you want to. The problem, of course, with commercially grown, commercially available fruits and vegetables is that you have to watch out for infection by bacteria and viruses and all those things. So they require some detailed cleaning and disinfecting, which not everybody can do, and that's why it's always safer, really, to cook the vegetables. But you need to be aware of it. There have been study after study after study after study that says that if you take 5 to 7, some say 9 fruits and vegetables, 5 to 7 fruits and vegetables, it should provide you with enough of the nutrients that you need on a daily basis. Well, who does that? Who takes fresh fruits and vegetables 7 to 9 servings? Who does that? Well, we're going to take a break here, and then we'll be right back.